Hi guys, and welcome to another video, and today I will be comparing these guys. Look at that! A W King X10 versus a Teufel Rockster cross. This is a video I really wanted to see on YouTube, but unfortunately nobody has compared these guys, so I guess I'm the one to make the first review, or duel rather. And with me, today, you can see it's a little bit dusty. I almost dusted off a little bit. Today I bought these. Came 1 week ago actually, but it has been really stormy in my neighborhood, so it hasn't really been I haven't been able, or not 1 week ago, it's less than 1 week ago, maybe 4 days ago it came. And this is a stand, or whatever you want to say, tripod for my phone, which means I am now able to make much better videos, hopefully at least, or much more stable, because as you can see right now it's shaking quite a lot. So yeah, let's just I'll be right back. Okay, what I wanted to say that I wanted to unfold the stand so you get a more stable picture, and that you can see right now. It's super stable and it's super nice. So let's begin with the unboxing experience, I guess. Let's see here. Not wanting to get too much into the frame. Not ready for that yet, at least. Here we can see that we get a accessory package. We'll save that, and then we get some foam right here, plastic foam, and I guess we'll just, this is like the first extreme speakers. Let's see, oh, touching the stand, not optimal. Let's see here, oh, not the most comfortable way. I guess I'm gonna pick that up. Let's see, get that foam away, and here the speaker is itself. So there we have it. Just gonna take this away, put this down. Yeah, perfect. Put the speaker down, and here it is. And let's continue with the accessories. Focus maybe. There we are. Accessories. What do you get here? We get some straps that we can also see with the Teufel. We got this nice strap right here. Let's see if I can take it. There we are. This long, nice strap. And we get the same kind of strap with the X10 here. And this is one of the things I think is kind of funny. People in a lot of videos, their only complaint with the X10 is that they think the strap is too short, and they think literally that this is the size of the strap, or maybe they don't, but they don't show the true size of the strap. And this thing right here, you pull, look, it's like magic. Pull. Oh, look how long it is now. So it's adjustable. You can have it short or you can have it long. It's your choice. And I love the strap. It makes it so much more convenient, especially if you're in the city or you're outdoors and in a forest, for example. Lugging the speaker around makes it so much more comfortable. So much more. And no handle in the world can take this away from this. Of course, if you're like in the house, I guess, and going around the house, I guess the handle is better. But this is underrated, very underrated. But that isn't it all. We actually get some more. I look like idiots doing this, but who cares? We get a, let's see here, focus. We got a 3.5mm connection. Please focus. There we are. 3.5mm connection. Awesome. I love this, that they include this, and it's a braided cable as well, which makes it even better. I love this. So nice detail that they include this. I think they should do that in more speakers. And then we get a USB, focus, USB Type-C to USB Type-C. So a modern cable. Not everyone will have a power brick adapted for this. So that's kind of fortunate, I guess, that they didn't have USB-A. But USB-C to USB-C is the new standard here. And they are actually modernizing, which is good. Future-proofing this cable, I guess. And it's braided, of course, and it's a really nice braided cable. So that's a nice touch, but there is no power brick. No power brick included. This is all you get. Or this right here. And then there's a manual in the box under the speaker that I didn't show you, but that's that. So well, let me prepare all the speakers and whatnot, and I'll be right back once more. Okay, and I'm back once more. And now I will begin the sound comparison. Oh, let's do this a little bit so it gets a little bit more in the middle, right there. Perfect, perfect. I will begin with the X-10 playing, and it will play in its so-called indoor setting. And the Teufel will be playing in its outdoor setting for the entire video, so I won't change that, because it gives some extra treble sparkle. Of course, it sounds better with indoor settings, but I think outdoor it's just justified in general. Of course, I will also be doing an indoor comparison for these guys, so stay tuned for that as well. And the X-10 will begin play, and I will begin with 80% volume to see how they compare, and then I'm gonna step back a little bit and do 100%, and then I'm gonna switch to the different sides to see how they sound. So let's begin with the X-10-1. That's important. This is the -1, not the X-10. So it's the X-10-1, which means it has a little bit of less battery, but I will go over the specs later on in the video. So around 80% now from the X-10. And now the Teufel Rockster Cross is playing. Teufel playing. X-10. Teufel. W King. Teufel playing. Okay, and I think that was good for the 80% test, and now I will be going over what my opinion is right now in 80%. As you could hear, the W King had way more deep bass than the Teufel had, but the Teufel has like a very quite a decent amount of deep bass, but also that upper bass. The W King is also a upper heavy bass speaker, but it also has a lot of deep bass when you get to the higher volumes. Especially you don't hear that at the lower volumes, which I will show you in another video, but at the higher volumes it got super much bass with the triple passive radiators. It got 2 on each side and then 1 at the back at the speaker, so you could place it against a wall and it would sound super good. The Teufel has 2 passive radiators at the back firing downwards, or whatever you want to say, so it's also good for that. So in general I think the Teufel has a lot of upper bass and a lot of mids and quite decent highs. Quite decent, not the best highs, but they're decent, right? They're a little bit screechy, I think, but especially now with 80%, I think they're fine. But now when we push the speakers even further, you will hear that they're a little bit ear-piercing, but they're still quite fine. And let's begin with let's continue with the W King sound. Lot of bass in general, I think. Not as much like upper bass, I don't think, but it's super close. It's super close. So I think when it comes to bass at 80%, I think the W King here is the winner, comes out ahead. But the rest of the sound, I don't think sounds as good as the Teufel. I don't think it's actually close when it comes to the rest of the sound. The W King's mids are okay. They're okay. Okay, I give them that. They're like comparable, but the highs, they're not actually existing on the W King. You can hear that it's sloping very like... gets to they're not present as much as they are on the Teufel. The Teufel, as you will hear now in the 100% test, they get a little bit ear-piercing, but they're there, right? They're there and you can appreciate them, while they're not there or as pronounced with the W King. And I will show you that now. But of course the deep bass and the super warm sound from the W King is something that is very appealing and is also appealing to me. So I'm not discrediting the speaker for the sound in general. I am just saying that the highs are not sounding that good or even present as much as they are on the Teufel. So now on the 80% test, I think they have actually their ups and downs, both speakers. They're super comparable in loudness. They're basically the same. So when it comes to loudness in general, I think they're about equal. At bass, I think a little bit more upper bass from the Teufel, but more deep bass from the W King. But I give the bass to the W King, but loudness, sound, pretty comparable, but not the highs from the W King. They're not comparable. They are worse. So let's step back a couple of meters and see what happens when you push them to the limits. Okay, here we are with a little bit further back, I would say. That we're about, how much in meters? Maybe 6 meters or something like that, 7 meters. And this will be super interesting to hear the difference right now. So let's try it out. Just gonna find another song, and then I will go from the different sides, of course, and see how they sound there as well, to see the dispersion. So let's see here. I like Humanity, a really good song when it comes to pushing the speakers, and the Teufel is playing first. Maximum volume. Oh no, there are a couple of dogs, maybe they will get upset. I'm a douchebag. W King, maximum volume. Teufel.
It's all about humanity.
W King.
It's all about humanity.
Let's fast forward a little bit. Still W King. Teufel.
It's all about humanity.
W King.
It's all about humanity.
Teufel.
It's all about humanity.
Okay, and I think that was it for this song, and I will just give my short summary here. I think loudness-wise, the Teufel is definitely louder than the W King when it's not in its so-called EQ mode, or outdoor mode, that is. So, the Teufel Rockster Cross, with its outdoor mode on versus the indoor mode on the W King is louder. It's noticeably louder. And that's something that I think many people might appreciate when they push the speaker to the louder volumes. It does sound compressed though. It sounds quite compressed. While the W King doesn't feel as stressed at this higher volume. It doesn't feel as piercing as the Teufel does. The highs are tending to be a little bit too much. And actually now at the higher volumes, even though their highs isn't that present on the W King, I still think they actually are starting to sound better now at the higher volumes, because you interpret the frequency or the higher frequencies as louder when you go up the scale than, let's say, bass or mids or whatever. So I'm starting to now it's actually getting to be a quite decent sound, well balanced even. It's probably not well balanced if you look at the graph, but it sounds quite pleasant, especially because the bass does not limit at higher volumes. I can certainly hear that, while the bass limits on the Teufel. I think there's still more upper bass on the Teufel, but not that much. More upper bass from the Teufel, while you can actually, there's so much bass on the W King that you can actually hear the bass. You can still from 7 meters away, and this is not something I could say with, for example, the Extreme 3 or let's say the XB43 or something like that. I will also be comparing the motion booms, but yeah, we'll see when I do that as well. A lot of stuff going on. School exams and whatnot, so yeah, life is moving on. This is such a nice day for this, quite bright outside and not that much wind as it usually is in my videos, so that's awesome. I can hear there's some wind right now, but not that much. So let's do one more song at on axis, and then I will go around with the stand or tripod and show how it sounds from different angles. So let's start. This is the Teufel Rockster, by the way. Oh, this sounds so good. W King. Teufel. W King. Teufel. W King. Okay, so let's do off axis. Still the W King playing. Teufel. W King. Teufel. Oh, that was already it. Interesting, interesting. Not right now. Okay, so off axis, short summary here. I gotta say though, I gotta admit that playing different songs benefit different kinds of speakers. For example, playing the Extreme 3 with a lot of house music, a lot of rap, benefits it quite a lot because it got that deep rumbly bass, especially indoors, and I think that sounds awesome. But when you switch to other genres like classical music, rock, for example, old recordings from the 70s or 60s, they're not necessarily old, but some might say that they're old, it doesn't benefit. While you can really hear the Teufel does benefit from songs with a lot of upper bass, and you can now I think you could hear clearly that it had more upper bass, and it sounded better in general than the W King because it got that nice treble response. But songs like, for example, Humanity, when you stress the speaker really hard, you can hear that compression. It doesn't sound that pleasant, while the W King still had nice control over the sound in general. So depends what kind of songs you listen to, if they're stressing the speaker, or you know that they're stressing the speaker quite a lot at higher volumes, or if they stay, you know, relatively calm, relatively low level, even at maximum volume, and not pushing the speaker to its limits. So in general, I think the Teufel performed better here, but you can hear that nice rumbly bass from the W King, and that's pleasant, right? But especially off axis, you could hear the Teufel is superior. I haven't heard anything better than this when it comes to the size and the dispersion of it, the speaker. And now I actually have heard a lot of speakers in this category with around 2 kilos to 3 kilograms speakers. So, of course, the bass still super nice, but loudness and other stuff with the indoor mode with the W King does not sound as nice. But of course, some people might think the Teufel is too ear-piercing, and for those people, you can turn off the indoor button and you will get a little bit of a reduction in the higher frequencies. And that's something I certainly recommend for indoor listening, especially. But a lot of other people, like for example, many younger people, they don't care about this. They care about loudness in general, and having loudness and pretty good sound quality as well is just a good package. But it's missing that deep bass, and it's missing a lot of mids when you go off axis. Still highs are good on the Teufel, but the mids are lacking a little bit. But the W King, as I said, rumbly bass, but and the mids are okay, I think, but the highs are missing. So let's turn on the outdoor button on the W King and see if anything changes or if it's still the same story. Okay, and here we are. And now I will begin with the W King, and it's playing with this outdoor EQ. And as you will hear, it lowers the bass but ups what highs it has a little bit, and the other frequencies in general, while dropping the bass. So it's playing maximum volume now. Is this really max? Teufel? Ah, that can't be max. I need to check this. I need to check this out. Let's see here. Alright, I'm back and I checked it out, and it was maximum volume. And okay, I'm gonna just let everything be and play the song again, and the W King is starting.
As the leaves start falling down and the shadows above the town.
Teufel.
I see the fear inside your eyes. I see the pain in your smile. I can finally see you now.
The W King, maximum. Teufel. W King. Teufel. Yeah, I'm skipping forward to the drops. W King. Teufel. W King. Teufel. Okay, so this was it for this video comparison, and yeah, let me just come a little closer to the speaker so I can do a short summary. Okay, so what is actually the summary? I think it's quite hard and easy at the same time. At 80%, I think some people might prefer the Teufel, and I myself lean a little bit actually towards the W King there. But the highs are a game changer for some people, including me, which makes me lean towards the Teufel. If they could make an update to like fixing the highs, that would be awesome. Because right now, I think the Teufel is the winner when it comes to 80%, and it's also the winner at 100% volume. Of course, some songs, as for example Humanity, as you could hear, which is a song that pressures the speaker, the W King did sound nicer, I gotta tell that. You would have to lower the volume for the Teufel if it wasn't gonna sound as nice or nicer as the W King there. Because it really pushed the speaker and didn't make it sound that good. But it was certainly louder with more upper bass. So, conclusion, more upper bass from the Teufel, much more deep bass, and bass in general I think you get from the W King. The Teufel had the better mids and the better highs, especially if you lower the volume to around 80% and so on. While the W King has decent mids, but also not that good highs, because they're not existing, as I've said many times before. What happened now when I pushed the W King to maximum volume and turned on the EQ mode? What I think is that the bass lowered. I didn't feel as much deep bass, or didn't sense as much deep bass, or hear rather. So bass-wise, they were pretty comparable. It was a bad song actually to use. It didn't have that or the same punch, so you could really hear the difference. But the Teufel still had more bass, had more bass actually when you push the EQ button, while the W King did sound that it just sounded worse. I think it sounded maybe a little bit louder, but it sounded worse in general. I think it just sounded worse. So the Teufel still was louder, and it sounded better and had more bass than the W King did. So the EQ button is, of course, it might have its situations where you just want pure loudness, and it got a little bit louder, but I don't think it's worth it. I like that bass, because that bass is actually something that separates it from the rest of the speakers that I have currently, because there's no speaker with that amount of deep bass, because it's really hard to reproduce, and that's something you gotta give them credit to. Let's go over some other specs. I don't actually know the battery size of the Teufel Rockster, so it would be interesting to find that out, but I would guess around 10,000, maybe 12,000 milliampere battery, something around there, because it has a really good and comparable battery life to, for example, the JBL Extreme 3s. The W King has the W King-1 has a 13,000 milliampere battery, so it's probably gonna be bigger than the Teufel's battery, and it lasts quite a long time. The Teufel is 37 watts or something like that, while the W King, it says it's 70 watts. Is it RMS or is it not? I don't know, and I don't think it is. I don't think it's RMS. So 70 watts versus 37 watts, nearly double the output, but the Teufel still had more. It had more of everything, but not the deep bass. And that's something many people might prefer. And I will do an indoor, of course, as well. You got USB-C charging, while you got the, I can't talk today, proprietary plug or connector, I guess, for to charge the Teufel. So that's kind of annoying, as the same type of charger you get with the X-10-1 and X-10-2 and so on and so forth. So that's kind of annoying instead of using USB-C. Both have aux inputs, which I love that, especially for the size. You should have an aux input, I think. I think it doesn't take much space, and it's nice, it's decent, right? Gets a better sound quality, and yeah, so all that other stuff. The W King does actually have something different, though. It has two things that the Teufel doesn't have. The number one thing is it got a micro SD card slot, which is a nice touch for those that likes to play music from those. I don't think it's too many people. I haven't heard anyone playing from one of those, so I am never gonna use that, but I guess it's a nice touch for those people that use it. And it got a reset pin as well, which is kind of interesting at the back. Maybe I can show you the pin. So let's see here at the back, and it weighs 3 kilograms instead of the Teufel weighs 2.5, so a little bit better there as well. Here we have it. So micro SD, USB-C, USB-A. So both of these can be used as power banks. And then we have an aux, and then there's this reset pin, and I think you need to push something in there to make it work, but that's a risk I don't know how many people would take, or you gotta read a little bit about it, I guess. And all these buttons up here, they light up. You might not see that too well here, especially in the daytime, but they light up, so in the dark it's really nice. And here at the back there's lights, so you can see the ports better, lights there. And that's also something I think is really nice, a really good touch to add to your speaker. And I wouldn't be surprised if JBL does the same thing in the next versions. The Teufel has, I think I've shown that and I won't show it. It got the same ports basically, but a micro USB for support, and no reset button or a micro SD card reader, and no USB-C, of course. But and the buttons does not light up as the W Kings, which is a nice touch by W King. But the buttons are very stiff, so you gotta press them down really firmly and have a really sturdy table if you have this on and push the buttons, while the buttons are nice and tactile on the Teufel. Okay, this was a heck of a long video, over 38 minutes. Incredible stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video, and thank you for watching, and see you guys in the next one. Cheers.